Hello, this is Bridget Mile with Divine Essentials. Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Starseed Shaman. It's funny. I listened to the video that I had from Natalie and I when we did the Blu-ray Palladian talk show. There's like 22 episodes of it. I don't remember. I don't know. Like I've been kind of like, what the hell happened? Because I'm actually listening to another show at one point, not too far back, like a couple weeks ago. I listened to one of those. Back in the beginning, when I woke up, I was by myself for a long time. When I looked online, you know how Facebook has all the groups. I looked on there to find people. Couldn't find anybody. Not long after that, I happened to look again, and there was 30,000 members inside of the Palladian group. And it was like, what? Like, that should have come up. What? It, like, came out of nowhere. And Facebook doesn't allow you to go from private to public with groups. So I know it wasn't like one of those things. Once you go private, you're done. You're private forever as a group. Doesn't matter. So I know that group was not there, and it was. Lots of people in it. And I was like, whoa. I joined it. And within a quick amount of time, I was I was like one of the admins. There was 7 sisters, 7 girls who admin 30,000 people. And Larry was there, Larry Locken. I had started listening to Larry Locken because he had Palladian Talk on YouTube, where he talked about his experiences. I don't even know, I could be, because I'm telling you, man, there was nobody out there talking back then about it. So I was like, what the hell? And he was having the exact same thing go on as me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, how is this possible? You know, thinking I was crazy for a while. And then I would find, like, the Starseed synchronicities, which had the basics, but not, like, the weird shit that I was doing. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, this, and he's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. He was in Oregon, Couscous Bay, I believe. I don't know, maybe that's not where he was, but I know he's over there, okay? He's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast. He used to say, I'm from the best coast. And the East Coast was like the least coast. Like, he was very sarcastic, like I am. He was goofy, you know, like I have a wicked, weird, goofy, like, sarcastic side of me. And he has all the same shit. And he doesn't care at all, like, what anybody thinks or whatever. But he was basically doing a lot of the same things over there on his bay that I was doing over here on my bay. And when I joined that group, he was in there as like a, you know, dude. And when I joined, I was like, oh my god, blah, 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 blah. And I quickly became friends with like a whole bunch of people that I'm still friends with. Like, they're still on my, you know, friends list on Facebook. One of them passed away, which was like so horrible because he lived with his cats, and he was in Chicago. He had an apartment, and you could tell that he was probably like on the like spectrum or something, you know, like he's just a little different, which I am too, okay? But like, I don't know, they have a certain frequency to me, and I know, and I had done like private readings for him, and we also had made another group called like Palladian Humor Group, which is still out there. I'm still an admin in like so many fucking groups. It's crazy. But he I don't know, like, I don't even know, and this is the fucked up thing, I don't know what it is, but when people are gonna pass away, they connect with me. I was supposed to do a reading for him the same fucking week he died. And it's not like I gave him readings like on a, like, it wasn't a regular, like every week we do this type of thing. He had like one or two of them before. And the other time before, like, I had ever done a reading for him, because like I wasn't even doing readings when we first started to talk. And we met in the group, and he had a lot of the same synchronicities and experiences and thoughts, and he was all into it. And again, starseeds are, there's different levels of starseeds. I'm sorry, I don't know how else to say this, but some starseeds, you have a deeper thing with me, or I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. It's just that, like, some people that I meet, I can tell that they're awake on a different level than others. Some people are learning it. Some people, and I commend you. That's awesome. Come on in and learn. But some people don't learn it. It's just like, now you're on. And when they get turned on, totally different than the ones that are trying to learn it. And it's exciting, okay, put it that way, because like I've even had people come, like when I had somebody come give me a healing recently, and when he came, he was like, I'm excited because I'm like him and he's like me, and we do these things that are like we were pushed, we weren't, it didn't come just from like a desire to awaken or anything like that. It came from suffering, struggling, darkness, depression, like people fucking beating us down, and this life, and having a fucking mission, and just all of that. So I think some people must get that. It's, it just depends, I guess. I don't know exactly. Well, I do know. It's because some people are still learning, like, the beginning lessons. Like, it's not going to be as difficult for them. They're not going to have been through as much. Like, they're going to be the ones that fall apart over one thing. Like, me, it's going to take a lot of things before I'm like, oh my god, and then I just reset and do it again. So I think it just matters, like, how many things you've been through and all of that. And there's no rush, and there's nothing. I don't know, like, when I was a little kid, I think the reason I think that, like, I get weird about saying it is because when I was like a girl, like a little girl, I always thought of like wisdom as like a really like thing, like a thing that I wanted, like I couldn't understand when my mother was like, you're gonna see, like, when as you turn 30 or whatever. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Like, what are you talking about, dude? There's more wisdom with age. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't see it as a bad thing. I don't know. Like, obviously I don't want to be like, gross, ugly, dying, like, crap, whatever. But like, I don't think getting older is like scary. I don't know. It can be scary at times, because it's like I want to be able to take care of myself, all of that. But the wisdom, like the strength, the information that is just in their eyes, and I don't know. It's like, it's something that I always didn't think of as something to be like, oh no, like I wouldn't dread it. But I think my mother was a much younger soul than I was. And other people have even said, like my nana, I have a nana and a grandma. My nana had said, you parented your parents. Like I was the old one that came on in there. If I wasn't there, they probably wouldn't have been okay. But that's just, it's on a soul level. And that's the same thing as like those who have had the turned on, now you're here, and those who are learning it. And and I think you can still be a starseed or really resonate with all of the different things that there is, and awaken yourself. You know, like, I don't think you have to be turned on for it to matter. It doesn't matter. Just do the work. Like, the more you do now while you're here, the better you are while you're here, the better it's going to be when you leave here and decide where you're going from here. Like, you can take a break, you can come back right on in and do some more fucking stuff. A lot of people go, I guess, and they're like, sign me back up, boss. Like, they just like slam back on in. I don't understand it. I guess, like, maybe like you figure when you get out of here, you're like, oh fuck. Like, maybe you see something that we're forgetting about while we're here. People say that the tree of life, like, is like where you go. It's like this big thing of information, and I don't know. Also, though, I feel like when people die, a lot of times there's like, you know, there could be like a high stressful situation around it, you know, and somebody may be wanting to come back really quickly, even if it's in another situation, you know, like a son wants to come be born for the person that just lost their dad. You know what I mean? Like, when your dad dies, he may be coming back as your baby boy. At some point, you know, could be soon, could be late, could be exactly with 8 months. It could, everybody got weird things. I think fragments come in when you have like an elderly person in the family and there's babies, right? Because they're like, well, she died after she was born. I don't think it matters. You've seen people with Alzheimer's, right? Alzheimer's is like, it's that those are the symptoms of soul loss, you know, being shown very clearly. Like, this person's been through some stuff where they've lost fragments of their soul, their memories, their pieces of themselves. So we want to go and retrieve those and put them back, you know. But I also believe that whatever is going on in people's lives, you know, like, it's not your fault, it's not your thing to do, so don't be like, oh no, because I did that, you know, like with the death rates and stuff like that. It was like, oh no, like, you know, people who've passed away and before I knew of them, and it's just like, I'm like, I have guilt over things that I didn't know. Like, what the hell, man? It's okay, Bridget, you didn't know. But, you know, when we find things out, we can utilize what we know then, and we can also apply them then too. Like, don't ever let anything limit you. That's the thing. Like, people let everything limit themselves with, oh no, like, it's too late. It's never too late. It's never not. Like, if there's something, just do it. Intention is all that matters. Your intention is all that matters. If you could think, you know, and intend, like, I want to do this, then do it. Just try it. It's the worst that's gonna happen, you know, unless it's like something stupid. You know, do things that make sense, that are like wisdom seeking things, not like jumping out of a plane just because you want to see if you can land without a chute. If you think real hard about it, you know, jump out with the chute, please, just in case. Use the wisdom, use your brains. Try not to, I don't know what they, like, I think some people need excitement, some people need information, some people need art, some people need, I don't know, some people are crazy, some people, like, I saw this person, this woman, I guess it was probably the drugs that made her fucking this, but I don't know, like, I feel like we hear about people do drugs every day, right? Like, and the same drugs have been around, and I know, like, some people, or a lot of people, tend to do, like there's worse things that happen with meth for some reason. I don't know what the hell it is about that, and it's like, me seeing people who've done it in their past, and I know, like, I find they're like, oh, that person, but I'm like, oh, I'm like, I know I'll never do it. I'll never touch that, because, like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? there was a person I used to work with that had, I guess, a past with it. Like, they never told me, but everybody seemed to know. It was like, oh yeah, that one, ba. And I'm like, really? Like, it makes that happen? Is she still doing it? Like, you know, um, I can't even explain it. It's like they like go to another place and they don't come back. Like, they're in another dimension, or someplace, plane of existence, and doesn't matter. I really don't think that some people can return or something. I don't know what they're doing, but some woman and her boyfriend had his mom like give them some sort of drug, like a sedative or something. Like she gave them shots of sedative, okay, before they went down into her basement for a couple days, right? For a couple days they're down there, and then like in the middle of the night, 3 a.m., she hears the bulkhead door slam. She's like, oh, that must be my son's girlfriend leaving or whatever. Okay, so she goes down to take a peek, and the light was on. So she goes down, and she opened the door, looked around real quick, didn't see anybody. Nothing was there. So she went to go back upstairs, and as she did, there was a bucket that she noticed on the bottom of the steps. So she stopped, and, takes a look in, and there's her son's head looking at her. Just looking at her. And that's it. That's what was in the fucking bucket. So his girlfriend had been there with him all weekend, had played with his dead body, cut him up, put his head into the bucket, and that, yeah, because she, I guess, was on that, and I don't know. I don't know why she killed him. I don't know why. I don't know what else, like, exactly she mixed with it. What happened exactly? But I know that it was like a thing, and it happened. And that lady was the one that found. And then when the cops went to pick her up, she was covered in blood. Like, she came out of her apartment to the cops, like, no big deal. Like it was like paint, just all over her. And she, I don't even think she had, like, anything that made sense. I think they were trying to say, like, claim insanity for her or something, but they also said that she was, like, they were calling her the Jeffrey Dahmer, female Jeffrey Dahmer, but that was because she was, like, obsessed with him, and that's where she was inspired. He inspired her to do what she did. And I'm like, what the hell, man? And, like, how, sometimes I wonder, like, is this woman the mother? Like, why didn't she go down there for like, multiple days? It just seems like, and I guess I can understand, because, like, my dad and I live here together, but, like, there's sometimes that we don't see each other for a couple of days, because, like, either he's just, doesn't feel good and he's in bed, or I don't feel good, or, like, I'm up at night, he's up during the day. It's like, just sometimes we don't see each other. But something about that situation feels, well, also because of, like, she's like, oh yeah, so I gave them drugs, like, I shot them up with drugs. It's like, hey mom, thanks for your help. That's not normal. I get it, because my mother is the reason why that I had ever done drugs, but the thing is, the fact that they went, like, if that was, like, their relationship, if they were doing drugs and stuff, I think that it would be weird for them to not see each other, or, like, wouldn't those people probably be, like, wanting to do more? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know how meth works. I don't know what the scene is there for that, how many days it lasts, or whatever thing that they were shooting. But I know that, like, other stuff is usually, like, multiple things, or people keep going back and getting more, or they need to see, like need to have it, you know. I don't know. So, just doesn't seem right. Something's off about it, but that happened. And I don't even know why I'm talking about it. My brain is so weird. I'm definitely um, CPSTD, whatever the hell it is. Complex post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? This is like when you've either lived for a long-term amount of time in trauma, which is like, I lived with a narcissist. That's fucking trauma. That's long-term trauma. That is traumatizing. It's complex. It's not just CPT. Like, it's not just like having like, stress, post-stress disorder. It's complex. It's worse. It's much worse because you've endured a long-term amount of it, and usually by somebody that was not supposed to be doing, bad things. Like you love this person, they probably tell you that they loved you, but then they did not act that way. And fortunately, it seems to be like way more common than what I think people realized before. And I think that's because just like we are like finding out information on other scales, we're like also learning about like what's healthy. When you're a kid growing up, you don't realize that your life is drastically different from other places until you see it for yourself, and you're like, oh, like this is how you guys live? You do this, completely different than other people. And I'm not saying anything's wrong or bad about any way anybody lives, but I do believe there's just been a lot of the blind leading the blind for many, many decades, and lots of people have been hurt, lots of people have struggled, and lots of people didn't want to be bad people. They didn't want to hurt you. Probably were hurting themselves in most cases. I'm gonna say pretty much every time somebody's like really messed up, doing messed up things, it's because of whatever has happened to them. There's something wrong with them. It's not you, first of all, so don't do that whole route. But if you are, questioning things or wondering about that, it's something I feel like some people can't see it, or they don't allow themselves to see it. They're not ready to see it. I wasn't ready to see it until after, like I always knew my mom was like kind of crazy, and my sisters and I would just like kind of laugh it off, because what else are you gonna do? Like, we didn't know either. I had no idea a lot of the things that like were going on and how bad it was. I like to just like sit back and really think about it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of messed up. That like when my parents, like when my mom got better from cancer, I moved home and I didn't know that she was like doing drugs. And like the first week I was back, she had given me a Percocet because I couldn't sleep. And then like the second week I was there, I had a migraine. She gave me an OC80. And I just took it. And I was like, oh. And then my stepdad had woke me up one night because he was like upset. He's like, your mother is smoking crack. And I had no idea. But then because he found out, he wouldn't let her leave without like, go out with her by herself or with her friends. So she started having me take her places because he didn't expect her to be buying crack with her daughter. But that's exactly what she was doing. The first time I took her, she was like, it's just like smoking weed. That's what she told me. Just like smoking weed. And then laughed when I was puking out my side of my driver's door. And she would have me drive her around for hours and hours and hours so that she could smoke crack. And finally, and like on the way home, I would get a perk or an OC to come down from crack. And I was working as a waitress, And when I finally like got like addicted to the pills, because I didn't know that's what was happening, you know, I didn't realize like taking them consecutively would lead to you needing them. And that's when I was like, that's $80 she was charging me for her pills now, or $30, depending on which one it was. And then she started sending me to this guy that she knew in, I think, Abington or Whitman or something. There was like a dude who owned a liquor store. And she would give me checks and sign them in my stepdad's name and have me go to the bank, take $160 out and get one for her and one for me. And she did that a lot. You know, sometimes she'd give me more, $300, go get this many. And I kept going and doing that. There was one day that I got pulled over in Brockton and they took my car because I was driving unregistered, unlicensed, with no sticker, no seatbelt, and I was speeding. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. And so he let me go, like walk. He had to tow the car. He's like, I gotta take the car, man. I'm like, all right. So my mom came and picked me up, and brought me the rest of the way, and you know, whatever. But like, all of that stuff that went, and the money that she was stealing, my stepdad thought was me. And she like let him think that. And there was a lot of other things that she did that were really messed up throughout that time. And then, you know, I would get in trouble. But the biggest thing about all of it was like $60,000 that came from when my dad's house went into foreclosure because he decided to go off the bender and start drinking, and he had a foreclosure on his house, and there was back child support owed. $60,000 came, and that was the money that she was basically stealing from me. Like, she put it into my stepdad's stuff, and they spent it all. Didn't really give me much of it for my back child support that was owed, that my dad basically paid anyways. Like, it was just he never did it through the DOC, so they didn't have records of it, so she took advantage of that and took money. And yeah, that's you know, pretty messed up, complex situation, especially because there was other things that went down. Like a guy that I lived with, the first guy that I lived with, used to beat the crap out of me physically. The last guy that I lived with beat the crap out of me mentally and emotionally. And then I'm here now doing what I'm doing and trying to heal from that. But I didn't know, like I didn't even know what a narcissist was until I had my spiritual awakening. And the only reason I found out was because I was like asking if I was or something. I can't even remember what I saw or what was like. It was just around that time where everything came to me, like all this information was like I said, I got turned on, and there it was, all this information and all this synchronicity. And ever since then, it's like spirit's just like, hey, look at us, hey, now you know this, and bump bump bump. It's like, you know, you get that ringing in your ears, or they're like, whoa 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 whoa, weird stuff going on. You get like a buzz in your body, you feel something strange. Those are little activations where they're like downloading some shit into your consciousness. And some of it comes from, you know, before we even get here, I think, and some of it comes in as we're here. Some of it comes in, we have no idea that it's coming in, you know, what, like, we might hear the ears ringing, we don't know what that is right then, you know, but maybe later that week we're having a conversation with someone, we give some profound advice, we're like, wow, that's amazing. That must be what that ringing in my ear was last week, you know? And I think that pretty much sums it up as to, like, some of the downloads and things that people get. I think people expect it to be way more direct than it is, and I think that's because some people go through the and some don't. If you've been through the you realize, like, you just know. And if you haven't, you may have a bigger preconceived notion in your mind about what that is. It's not like you're not all knowing, like magical, like fairyland. Woohoo! Immediately coming out the gate, like oh la 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 la. You're not even aware. You know something's going on, but you're like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is wrong? What is going on inside of me? Why am I, what, and people look at you like you're fucking crazy. People treat you bad. People make fun of you probably. Like I've been extremely lucky though, because I really haven't had much in the ways of like attack, and I know there are people out there who've been ridiculed and made fun of. Oh, she's fucking nuts. Blah, blah. And I probably have people say it about me. I don't give a shit. Go ahead. I don't care what people think, because I know. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced way too much shit for me to not believe. And if people just, paid attention and weren't so quick to do like if you're not giving out like a certain thing to people, they don't want it. They don't care. A lot of people just want certain things, and that's it, and you're just not gonna be able to get to them, so you might as well just not even worry about it because it's just gonna make you upset. My dad pissed me off the other day because he was like, I don't know, there's some dude that he's seen that does like, I know exactly who he is, and I've watched stuff from him before. I think he's been on like Ancient Aliens and stuff, and he's like, got a degree or whatever, like just like a lot of people do. It doesn't make them. I think it's also part of the generation where it's like people. Oh, is this a person with a like? They went to college, and they just have this like weird thing in their brain that like makes them think like this person's better. It's like, like this person is a better, I guess, source or something, or I should trust this or believe this. And the guy, I guess, he's like a doctor, and he interacts with beings or talks to beings and does like events where, like I do, like I'm like Dad, I do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, have you seen anything that? Because he's like, oh yeah, like they come right down, or like like you can see them in the pictures, like these light beings. And I'm like, I have light beings on camera. The thing that happened the other day, like fucking birds and shit, and just weird, crazy events that go down that like are here. He's had them happen to him. I took him in a teepee like the first week he was out of jail, and I gave him all the money key rights, and he was like, he saw a Merkaba. He didn't even know what that was. He didn't know how to, he was like, I saw like stars inside of stars. And I'm like, that's a Merkaba. That's your light body. That's how you travel through the astral realm. Okay, that was his first fucking time doing anything with me. He's like flying in a Merkaba. I'm like, hello. But that guy, I guess his pictures are better and his light beings are better. And I was like, whatever. Like, he didn't say that, but it's just like basically implied, like he, I don't know, either he wants to see them himself or talk to them or something. I don't know. But then that night, like right within that same conversation, I was like, look at that. It was like this thing in our backyard, like wicked close. I think, pretty sure it was just a plane, but it was like, it didn't look normal because it was so close. It had so many freaking lights on it, and it like literally was like, it looked like it was gonna hit a tree basically in our yard. But I have weird, crazy stuff come all the time here, all the time. Like every time I go outside at night, it's like they come. And everywhere I've lived for the past, 5 or 6 years at least, actually longer than that, there's been like tons of planes that come, and they do weird things. And I swear to God, they change. Like like shapeshift, people probably think you're crazy. But even the other things that used to glow huge, big, bright, like whoa, those things were crazy, and a lot of people saw those. And even my ex, who was an asshole, who would like make fun of me all the time and think that I was just a stupid idiot, blah blah blah. Even him, he was like, I have no idea what that is. So I know that they're really there, that they come, and and I keep telling him he has to just go out there and talk to them, and they'll show up. Like that's it. That's all you gotta do. So if you're somebody that's like, wanting to see like whatever, do it for yourself, because you're gonna probably see it if you have a pure heart and you're not just like doing it for weird bad purposes, or you're not feared. Like if you're in fear, they won't come. Even if you get them to show up and then you switch into fear, they will leave because they don't want to freak you out. They're not here to do that. So call on them, say either show me. I always say show me when I want something, and they always show me. I always forget to do it too, which is so stupid because it makes my life a lot easier when I'm like, show me, help me, show me abundance, show me, proof, show me something that I can, use for the benefit of myself and others. Show me how to heal. Show me the answer. Show me what I need to know. Show me abundance and money and support and health and wealth and love, whatever it is that you need or want. And then, let it go and let them do it. Let them bring it. Just trust. Know, because you asked, it's coming. And try to focus on good things and good people and be good, and usually good things happen. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember exactly what the hell started, what I was starting off on. I think I may have gotten lost along the way. What the hell did I start off saying? I think I just rambled. But I know we were pretty much talking about spiritual stuff, which is the whole purpose here. Oh, and I think I had meant to get to this point of Starseed Shaman. Okay, I called this Starseed Shaman podcast, right? Natalie Alea is the, she was also like, she's Starseed Shaman too. So I felt like when I realized, I was like, oh no, I hope that's not offensive. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to like take her name from her, but I think we both had like liked it and talked about it before anyways, like we had back when we were doing the Palladium Blu-ray stuff. And I can't remember, we had started off with this other girl, and the other girl had like a crazy breakdown, mental crazy, like, I hate you guys, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and me and her we tried, like, we were like, I don't know, she hates us now, okay, bye. Like, we had to change the name of the show and just go away, and we both were like, fine, whatever, okay, bye, sorry. Like, we didn't care. We weren't like that. I love Natalie. I don't know, like, I know she had stopped, like, she also had a PhD. She was like very well, educated and all of that, like, had a science background, but then she decided to do like shamanic work, and she hated a lot of the science stuff, like, because it's not always good stuff. It's bad people. They do bad things sometimes, or they're very limited with their mind or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they're just, I don't know, the spiritual thing isn't like integrated there. It's not accepted, and there's a lot of like, heartless, cold stuff that goes on. And there's a lot of lies, and there's a lot of like hiding things and suppressing things that doesn't fit to a certain agenda. So what the fuck's the point of being, a scientist in a lab and doing these tests if nobody gets the answers that are the truth? Is basically, I think the way she had been feeling. But I know life, you need money, right? You need to have a job, you need to make an income. And I think she was struggling like internally about, being in that field, or trying to make it on her own. And it's not easy to make it on your own, especially as a woman, single woman, right? uh so she ended up doing some other stuff, and going and working and utilizing the education that she had, which is smart of her to do. She's probably taking care of herself for her life. um but I know that, like the other day I listened to that show, right? And I was talking to Larry. He did an interview with me, and at the time I was going through something here with, like, the first person that I had worked with in a physical center at this in this world. Okay, that's in this state. Had nothing to do with Natalie. But when I told him, like, what I had been going through at that time, and how, like, I was changing things up and I was moving here to do other stuff at this other place, and da 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 da, and how I had, like, learned a lesson about blah 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 being used, and had to take, like, a big loss financially, and blah, 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 blah. And he was like, okay, can we break up, can we make, like, clear up the rumor of that being Natalie right now? And I was like, yeah. But I didn't even, like, give it a second thought at that time, because in my head I was like, why would anybody think that? Like, it's not her at all. It would never, you know. And nobody even knew, really. Like, I never flat out said who I had an issue with. If anybody knew, it was just because they knew that I had been there, and then I was no longer there, and they were like, what happened? And I'm like, it just didn't work out. But with Natalie, it was she and I. We didn't have a falling out. Nothing was wrong with us. Like, she didn't owe me anything. I wanted to go see her and visit her, but I had no fucking money, and it sucked. But there was no bad feelings between us, I don't think, right? But then, like, the other day I was like, hey, is there bad feeling? Like, is she mad at me? Because, like, when me and her stopped making those calls, she kind of, like, we, like, lost touch. And I did reach out to her at one point and was like, hey, how's it going? And she kind of, like, didn't really, she responded, but she didn't really, like, I don't know, it didn't feel like I would expect her. But I honestly, again, think she may have been upset about her like, going back, or feeling like she's doing, like, the wrong thing or whatever. People beat themselves up over stuff all the time. So I don't know. I have no idea. But I was like, maybe I need to reach out to her, because, like, she keeps coming up in my mind. And now I've got the Starseed Shaman podcast, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even mean to do that, and I didn't even put two and two together until today, when I, like, listened to the thing and she mentioned Starseed and Shaman, and I'm like, oh fuck. So, but I know I also get signs, like, maybe I need to reach out to her because of spiritual things. So I'm going to try to do that, figure out how, because I don't even remember. Actually, she should be in my contacts from my emails, from my older email. But yeah, that's been coming up for me. And again, it's hard. And I think, though, like, me being that way, or feeling like nervous, or like, did I do something wrong? I feel like that is also, like, a trauma thing that some of us have, or some of us may be more prone to, like, thinking those types of ways that I think, like worried. Oh no, did I do something wrong? Are people thinking the wrong idea about this situation? Like, I don't care what people think about me in general. Like, you could think I'm a horrible idiot, stupid, whatever. I don't care, really. But I don't want people that I care about, like her, to think the wrong thing, or like I don't want people to think that I had a problem with her, because I definitely didn't. She was my mentor. She's the one that I got the Moon Key rights from way back in the beginning, and like started it all for me. And without her, I would have never have had any of that. Like, I had been Reiki trained and New Paradigm trained and angel communication this and freaking that, doing this, doing that, and nothing was doing anything, and I wasn't booking and I wasn't seeing anything. And then I saw her. I didn't even see her. She just sent it at like long distance at night while I was asleep. And then within a year I looked back and was like, holy shit, that changed everything. Because I was finally like overnight, and it just like opened a doorway, or I don't even know. But definitely had no problems with her. So I wanted to clear that up, I guess, and make it known that that's who I started off with. She was in Ireland. And maybe I'll ask her to do an interview or something for me, because we had a lot in common. We talked about like Starseed stuff on the Starseed Shaman. No, what the hell was it called? The Blu-ray, Pleiadian Blu-ray talk show. If you go on my Bridget Rao YouTube channel, I believe it's that one. I have a playlist of the episodes from it where we did the interview with Brian Forrester about the skulls, and we did a couple of talks about Moon Key rights. We did talk about the Blu-rays, the indigos, synchronicity, stuff like that. It's so funny because like when I look at stuff online or like whatever, like I always see all these like these things, like there's tons of the same types of things out there, like all these topics, all these questions, like all this information that I have picked up over the years. There's a lot of it up in my brain, right? But like for some freaking reason, and I know other people have this happen too, that are like creators or do this content shit, it's like I can have 1,000,000,001 ideas, but then when I go to like sit down to actually do something, it's like they all leave my body, my brain, and they're like, bye. And I'm like, why? So I don't know. If there is a certain topic, like just throw a topic out there if there's one that you want me to talk about or cover, because I probably have done extensive research and probably had some experiences with it, because every freaking thing that you can think of to do with all this stuff, like if you're a Starseed, you resonate with that stuff, you've been hitting that watch later button, I've probably watched a majority of it because that's all I did for a while. Like, was try to figure things out, put things together. I did like the deep dive into a lot of stuff, and some of it is a deep dive within yourself too. I think that does the most for people. Like if you're trying to wake up, you're trying to raise your vibration, trying to heal, trying to grow, trying to ascend, trying to, I don't know, induce a I should make t-shirts like a douche. If you're trying to have that happen for you, do some inner work. Go within, meditate, ask yourself questions, journal, write, draw, sing, blah, blah, blah. Make noise. I've been making more noises lately. I can't help it sometimes. It's like, blah, 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 like just crazy, like, and then I'm like, oh, like wicked loud and high-pitched sounds coming out of me. I think there's definitely shifting happening in the frequencies. You could experience that through ringing in the ears. You could experience that through sensations on your body. You may get tired. You may get more awake. You may get angry. You may get sad. Try not to feed into fear, because I really do believe that that's something that a lot of people get sucked into, and then it takes you there with them. You know, if you're around people like who are angry or mean or mad or upset or sad or depressing or pissed off, whatever, you can't save everybody, and you can't talk to everybody. Unfortunately, if they're not ready to hear you, they're not going to hear you. And even if they are, ready to hear you, they may change later and not continue on. I've had a lot of people come into my life, go out of my life, come back later, go back out. It's not personal, I don't think. It's not. Sometimes it is, obviously, but for the most part, things just keep changing. So, let yourself do that too, and keep going within to check with you about what makes sense for you the most. And I know there's a lot of people like struggling with love and stuff I heard somebody say something today. They were like, I can't even imagine like the dating scene for Starseeds. Like, there isn't one. We don't really and they what's his name, Greg from in5d.com. I don't know if back when I woke up, he was one of the ones that was like basically putting it out there. And I think he must still have a lot of people go to his stuff. I think if you're a Starseed, you know who he is. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I've actually, I believe we're friends on Facebook. We were friends on Facebook, and I did submit stuff, and he published it. He basically, I feel like he's like, I don't know how to put this. He's like our news broadcaster. You know what I mean? Like how we have Fox News for the world, for the regular people, for the world. He's like our spiritual Fox News, but he's not like I don't want to say it like that because he's not bad. I know Fox News can be bad. Basically, he's the one that like has a lot of information from a lot of different people, all published, all posted. He started long ago, long before I did, and has tons of content because he had a lot of people submit it to him. Like Michelle Walling, and a lot of people who channel, a lot of people who are starseeds, who have information from other places. But yeah, I don't even know why the hell I'm mentioning him. What the hell am I talking about? I don't know. My brain is like, so boom. That's another sign of, trauma and bad situation that we may have experienced, because we try to suppress our feelings and stuff like that, and that actually makes us forget. And we can end up with symptoms of ADHD, but it's more so trauma. It's complex trauma responses inside of us that make us like, ah! So you may end up forgetting stuff, or procrastinating, or being overwhelmed, or dysregulated. You may pull away from people. You may get upset and overwhelmed. You may get angry, and it's guarded because you get hurt by people. And unfortunately, I think sometimes once we get hurt by people, we start to expect it, right? And that expecting of it actually makes us do stupid ass shit that hurts us, because we hurt these other people by the reaction that we're having out of fear of their rejection or hurt, or like harming us in some way, right? We're so afraid of somebody else hurting us or doing something bad. So what do? We act like idiots and do something stupid, and then we get hurt for that action, behavior, which we were doing out of fear of being hurt. So it's like, what the hell, man? Like, we just need to be more open and honest. And I know a lot of like people are afraid of being hurt, and I know a lot of people are avoidant because they would rather avoid losing somebody or getting hurt by somebody. they would rather just go away and disappear than, face that fear of being, I guess, abandoned or no longer loved or whatever. But, at some point, we have to let people in. And even if we don't let them in all the way, or even if we have to like step back or whatever, it's worth it to let somebody love you if they do love you. Like, if you know somebody loves you, just tell them and communicate with them. Little bits. Make like a way that you can express to people what it is you got going on. And know that for the most part, people are going to understand. Don't be afraid of people so much. Don't be afraid to take a risk of, letting somebody just be there or care. Because a lot of people do, but I think everybody's afraid to fucking just say it or do it or be it, or they don't want people to expect something or whatever, or they can't accept the love. They get like all dysregulated, upset about it. It's not fun for people, but everybody deserves love. And I think for the most part, people want to do the right thing and be good people. Sometimes there is bad people, and if you find yourself dealing with bad people, then get away from them and admit it to yourself, first, and then try to get away from them. And if you can't, for some certain reason, don't beat yourself up about it, but try to make a plan, because most of the time it will work, and ask the universe for help, and you'll get out of there. And then don't keep yourself locked away forever based off of one person's mistake. Sometimes people hurt us, and then other people pay for it. So try not to do that. Alright, have a good day. In Renee, namaste.